When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
Let's play Burlington's Guess That Price. Back to school means back to saving. We're bringing you kids' jeans starting at, hold on a minute, just $11.99. Burlington's acing this test. What about character backpacks? We've got them starting at $12.99. Burlington's done it again. How about sneakers for the kids? A-plus brands and right on trend starting at $11.99. Saving is now in session. Burlington, deals, brands, wow! Styles and selections vary by location.
The Presidencies of the United States is a proud member of the Evergreen Podcast Network. Hello and welcome to the Presidencies of the United States. I'm your host, Jerry Landry. So, with some of the larger episodes, it may take a little longer for me to actually finish those up. And so I thought I would start just doing a series of mini-sodes so that I could explore some figures that maybe just come up and are mentioned, but we don't know as much about, or that don't become, major players, or that we don't cover in our Seat at the Table or Vice Presidency series. So today we're going to be discussing the life and career of Frederick Muhlenberg, the first Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives and the first Dean of the House. Now, you may know more about the former post than you do the latter, but we'll talk a little more about both in a minute. Before we get to that, though, let's talk about Frederick. Born on January 1st, 1750, yes, he is a New Year's baby. Frederick's father was an immigrant to the colonies, while his maternal grandfather was a leader in the German colonial community in Pennsylvania. Muhlenberg was born in Trapa, Pennsylvania, which is about 30-something miles northwest of Philadelphia. When he was around the age of 13, Muhlenberg, along with two of his brothers, was sent to Halle, Germany, where he attended a Latin school for a few years before being admitted to the University of Halle in 1769 to study theology. He was apparently a quick study because in 1770, he was back in the U.S. and was ordained in late October as a minister in the Lutheran Church. For the next few years, he preached in Pennsylvania before moving in 1774 to New York City to preach. When the British took that city in 1776, Muhlenberg returned home to Pennsylvania and served as a pastor until 1779, when his political life began. Muhlenberg was chosen to represent Pennsylvania in the Continental Congress in 1779 and 1780. Then he served for 3 years in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. Apparently, he made a good first impression because soon after he took his seat in the State House, he was elected as its Speaker. In 1787, when the Constitutional Convention drafted a new plan of government for the nation, Muhlenberg was chosen as a delegate to the Pennsylvania State Ratification Convention, which he presided over as its chairman. As a reflection of his growing political prominence, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives after the Constitution's ratification and was chosen by the body as its first Speaker. Now, I mentioned that he was also the first Dean of the House. The Dean of the House of Representatives is more of a ceremonial role, designating the longest continually serving member of the House. Thus, the reason Muhlenberg was the first Dean of the House, in addition to being the first Speaker, is that as he was chosen as Speaker before the representatives of the first U.S. Congress were sworn in, he was the first person sworn in, and therefore the most senior person in the House. The speakership was a bit different at the beginning than it would become later on when more energetic people such as Henry Clay took up the role. But Muhlenberg did cast an important vote during his first tenure as Speaker. In August 1789, he was the deciding vote in setting the location of the new capital in what became the District of Columbia. Muhlenberg was replaced as Speaker with the Second U.S. Congress, but in the Third Congress in 1793, he was elected once more to the post. It was during this time that a proposal came before the House to make a copy of the laws of the nation available in German as well as English. Muhlenberg abstained from the vote, and it failed by one vote. This led to a myth that he was responsible for German being prohibited as an official national language, but this does not seem to be the case. In the Fourth U.S. Congress, Muhlenberg did not put himself forward again as Speaker, and he resigned from the House at the end of his fourth term on March 4, 1797. He served as President of the Council of Censors of Pennsylvania, and in 1800 was appointed as Receiver General of the Pennsylvania Land Office. He served in this role until he passed away in Lancaster, Pennsylvania on June 4, 1801. He was interred at the Woodward Hill Cemetery. His home in Trapa is preserved as a historic site. I'll post a link to more information about it on the page for this episode on my website, presidenciespodcast.com. There, you can also find sources used for this episode, past episodes of the podcast, and information on how you, yes, you, dear listener, can help support the Presidency's podcast. I hope you enjoyed this quick trip through the life and career of the first Speaker of the House, Frederick Muhlenberg. Feel free to send me any questions or comments via email at presidenciespodcast@gmail.com. You can also find me on social media if you don't follow me there already. I'm on Facebook, Blue Sky, and Mastodon as Presidencies, on the formerly known as Twitter at Presidencies89, and on Instagram and Threads as Presidencies Podcast. Last, but certainly not least, I thank you so much for listening. And until next time, stay safe and healthy, be kind to one another, and take care, dear friends.